In this sponsored tutorial, I'm going to show you how to build a Skookum login page and registration form using WPForms. To show you what this will look like, let's click on Login in the main menu, and we see this nice login form page that we see here. This is created using Elementor and WPForms. Someone can just submit their email address and password and log in. If they don't have an account yet, they can click on Register here. That'll take them to the registration form. All they have to do is fill it out, submit it. They will create an account on your site. And these three fields are custom fields that are not present in your WordPress website more than likely. I custom built these for this tutorial and I linked them to WPForms. And you can have these fields be anything you want. You use advanced custom fields to create them and they can literally be anything you want. Any kind of information you want to collect from your users, you can do with advanced custom fields and WPForms. I'm going to show you how that all works in this tutorial. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below this video. I try to answer them the best I can. My name is Bjorn, all past from WP Learning Lab, where we help you get better at WordPress so you can earn more for yourself, for your customers, and for your business. If you haven't done so yet, make sure to click subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss any future videos. And now let's get started. What I'm going to show you today requires the pro version of WPForms. In fact, it requires the pro version of pretty much any plugin that you find that's able to do this, because we're going to add custom fields to registration forms in WordPress. And I've tried out a lot of different plugins and none of them do it for free. So we've got to get a pro version of something somewhere. I'm going to use WPForms. I'm in my WPForms account right now. Just go to wbforms.com, pick one of the licenses and log in, go to downloads, click on download WPForms. That puts it on your hard drive. Then we can go back into our website and go to plugins and then add new, upload plugin, choose file, find the wpforms.zip file, click on install now, activate plugin, and now we have it installed. There's a new menu item on the left called WPForms. Click on that, and that takes us to here. There is a contact form that's automatically created when you install the plugin. And we're going to create two forms today. One is a login form, one's a registration form, and we're going to create those pages that you saw at the very beginning of this video. And before we get started, we are going to click on enter and activate your license key. Going to get our license key from the WPForms website, paste it in there, click on verify key, and bada bing, bada boom, our plugin is activated. Now we're going to go to add-ons. We're going to add a very specific add-on that allows us to create login and registration pages. In fact, it has a template for each of those, which makes our life a whole lot easier. There's a lot of add-ons that come with the pro version of WPForms. We're not going to get into much of those in this tutorial, but we are going to get into this one, user registration add-on. Click on install add-on right here. For me, it says deactivate because mine's already installed and turned on. So install it, then activate it, and then it should say status active. And now when we go to add new, we will have user login form and user registration form as two template options. These are not available unless we turn on that add-on. So we're going to start with the user login form, but first I'm going to add a form name. Just going to call it login, and then click on create a user login form. And here is our login form. We could, in fact, just leave it at this, click on save, put it on a page on the front end, and there we have a custom looking form. That looks better than the WordPress one, I think. But there are a lot of settings we can change here. Usually for login forms, all you need is a username and a password. That's why we only have two fields in this template. There are a lot of fields you can add to your forms, but login forms usually don't require very many. The CAPTCHA is probably the only one you might consider adding, the CAPTCHA right here. I'm not going to add it in my case. So I'm going to customize the form a little bit by taking the labels off. I'm going to click on the field, go to advanced options. I'm going to hide the label and type in email address for the placeholder. And I'll do the same for password. Go to advanced options, hide the label, and put password in there. Makes our form a little thinner, a little skinnier. You have the option of adding default values if you want, which are things that are pre-filled into the form. You can add CSS classes. You can change the size of the fields to make them large, small, or medium. And you can even have fields conditionally appearing based on conditional logic you can set here. For login forms, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but for a lot of other forms, it does. So we're not going to use the conditionals in this case, but it is there, and conditional logic is pretty awesome. And if you're finding this tutorial helpful, click the like button because that helps this video show up for more people on YouTube so we can spread the knowledge and help more people with this information. So make sure you click like if you like this video. So the login form design is complete. We're going to do a lot more customization on the registration form. Login forms are just pretty basic. If we go to settings on the left, There are a lot of settings associated with each type of form. We have these first 3 that we can use. All the rest are grayed out, and these become available when you add the add-ons that we saw earlier. On the General tab here, we can change the form name, add a description, add a CSS class for the form if you like to do CSS, change the button text, change the button processing text, which is what appears after someone clicks submit, change the button CSS class, and a bunch of different checkboxes down here. You can enable anti-spam protection, which is great to have. You can enable dynamic fields population, which means data that's sent to this page from a previous page can be entered into the form if you check this box. You can enable Ajax form submission, which means the page does not refresh. The form is submitted right on that page without a refresh. That's what Ajax does. You can disable the storing of information from this form in the WordPress database. That's a good thing to do because this is the login form. Somebody might log in 300 times over the course of a month. You don't want every login to be registered because in most cases that's useless information that would plug up your database. So I keep that checked, and I would hide this form if users already logged in. That's fine. Under notifications, we could turn on a notification that's sent to whoever you want it to based on these settings whenever someone logs in. Doesn't make a lot of sense for logins, at least not in most cases. So I'm going to turn that off. We're going to turn this on for registration, but off for login form. The confirmation is the message the people who submitted your form receive after they submit the form. In this case right here, it shows them being redirected to the home page. You can also redirect them to a different page or just have a success message show up on the screen. We'll get into that in more detail on the registration form when we build it. Click on Save, close out of here. And now we're going to create a login page for a login form just to have that whole login process complete, and then we'll do the registration process after. I'm going to go to Pages and then Add New. I'm going to name this page Login. We're going to create this page using Elementor, but I just want to show you really quick that you can add these forms really easily using Gutenberg. There's a WPForms block right here. If you don't see it there, just type in WPForms in the search bar, put it on the page, select a form, and there's the form we created. Then you can customize it further using Gutenberg blocks, and you have a login page. I'm going to use Elementor because we can do some more fancy stuff that we can't do with Gutenberg just yet. I'm going to click on Edit with Elementor to open an Elementor page or the Elementor editor. I'm going to change this to a canvas page so we don't have the menu bar at the top or the footer bar. I'm going to add a new section. I'm going to make it this one here, 30% and 70%. The login form will go on the left, and there's going to be a background picture and some text on the right. I'm going to click on the 3 dots, and we're going to add a background image by clicking on Style, going to Background Type. I'm going to choose a nice mountain right here. There's our mountain in the background. Doesn't look very pretty right now, but we're going to tweak a few more settings in the section to make it look a lot prettier. Make sure to click on the 6 dots, go to Layout. I'm going to change the content width to full width. I'm going to change the height to fit to screen. And now we have a nice full screen image. It is repeating as we see right here. I'm going to change that to non-repeating. So let's go back to Style, Repeat, No Repeat. And I want to stretch it or cover. So it covers the whole area. And now it's fit to screen. So whatever the screen size is that someone visits your site with, it's going to look like this. On the left-hand side here, we're going to add the contact form. Let's look at WPForms. Here it is right here. Drag and drop that right there. Pick our form. We don't see the form displaying here, but when we view it on the front end, it will be there. And on the right-hand side, I want to add a heading. And the text for the heading is going to be log in to see what's new. Let's center that. And I want to make a white background on the form column. So let's go to Style and then Background Type, Color, White. Nice white background. Let's see how this looks. Publish that, preview changes. We don't see the form because we set it so that logged in users can't see the form. Let's just quickly change that because that'll help us with developing the login page. Let's go back to the dashboard, WPForms, this form right here, edit it, go to settings, uncheck the box, hide the form if users are already logged in, click on save, come back out here, refresh, and there we go, the form appears. So there's our login page so far. What I want to do is have this column be full height and have more text on the right to make it a cooler looking login form. Pretty easy to do in Elementor, really hard to do in Gutenberg. That's why we're using Elementor for this. Click on the 6 dots for the section settings, go to Layout. For column position, instead of middle, choose Stretch. And now the columns are stretched from top to bottom. And our content in those sections is at the top. We want to have it right in the middle of the page. So click on the column icon, go to layout. For vertical align, choose middle. Do that again for the other column, vertical align and middle. And now we're getting somewhere. I want to add a logo above our login form. So let's add an image right there. Let's just choose this logo. There we go. On the right-hand side, I want to put a white background behind the text that we have. So I actually want to change this from just being a heading inside of the column to an intersection, which allows us to add columns inside of the column, if that makes sense. And then we can adjust our spacing more finely. We can also style it just the way we want. So let's add a background color right there. Let's go to advanced and add some padding on all sides, maybe something like that. And let's add some more text, maybe a sample of what they're going to see when they log in. Just some random text, and then maybe even a button to a blog post. Let's go to button, drag and drop that over. See the blog post. And there we have a pretty cool looking information area. See the blog. There we go. And the button text isn't on 2 lines. And now if I update this and I come back out here and refresh, or refreshes automatically, it actually looks pretty good. What I want to do is get the form off the side though. It's squished right to the side. Let's see if we can do that by changing under the section settings, change the width to boxed. No, that's not it. Go to full width again, go into the column settings, and then go to advanced, and then add some padding on the left. Just gonna eyeball it right now. This is set to pixels right now. I'm gonna change that. Let's go to percent. Add a percentage. That way it's a little more responsive. Responsive being resizing for different screen sizes. Let's make that 20%. So there's 20% padding on the left, which gives us some more space. Let's undo that because that shifted the logo over as well. So let's go to advanced again for the column, change that back to nothing at all, and just apply the padding to the form itself. Click on the form, go to advanced, change to percentage for the padding, unlock them so we change just the left one and just make it 20% and see how that looks. That's a bit better, but it could do a little more. Let's change that to 30%. How's that? That's good. I like it. And now we have a pretty legit login form here. I think it looks quite nice. Some things we might want to add to the login form itself. Just a short sentence that says, if you're not a member yet, click here to sign up. So let's add that. Let's find a new widget to add. Let's make it a text editor widget. Let's add some text. It says, don't have an account yet, question mark, register here. And register here is going to be a link to a registration page, which we haven't created yet, but I already know what the URL is going to be. So I'm going to click on, I'm going to highlight register here, click on the link. I'm going to copy the domain name /register. Click on the blue button, and now we have a link right there. And we also want to have this moved over by the 20%, or was it 30 that we ended up using? And let's make the text a little bit smaller. Text size, not quite so big. And make sure there's no margin below. Looks like there's a bit of a big gap between these two. Margin bottom is 0 for that one. Margin top for this one is 0. So let's actually add a negative margin on the bottom of this text. Get those a little closer together. And there we go. I think that's a pretty good form. Could mess around with the size a little more, just see if I have a typo for address. So we'll fix that in just a minute. But our login form, I think, for all intents and purposes, is pretty good. They click on register here. It's going to take them to the register page, which currently doesn't exist, but it'll exist in just a few minutes. So first, let's just fix this typo. Just in case you forgot where that is, let's go to dashboard, WPForms, go to all forms, edit our login form, click onto the email address field, and under advanced options, placeholder text, add an S. There we go. Now we're going to add a new form. I'm going to call it registration form. And I'm going to choose user registration form from the right. Here's a message popping up saying there's additional settings in the settings panel. That's fantastic. And we have a default registration form all set up with name, first name, last, username, email, password, and a short bio. These are all fields you find on the default user profile page. So whatever information they add in here will be added to that default user profile page. A little later on in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to add custom fields to this and have those custom fields added to a customized user profile page, but not just yet. First, let's check out some of the settings. If we click on any of these fields, we have options like we had before. We could hide all the labels and add placeholders again, just like before, but I'm going to keep it as it is, as we have here. And every one of these will have slightly different settings depending on what the field is, or they're going to be the same settings because all the fields are pretty similar, just text fields. Under settings on the left, we have our general options, which are the same for the login form. Notifications are on by default for registration form. They were off for the login form. This is where we can set emails to be sent after someone registers. So this first field is the send to email address. So when someone registers, an email will be sent to whatever email address you have in here. You can put an email address in like this, and then it'll be sent to that email. Or you can use a shortcode that they have in here, which will send it to the admin email on the site. The admin email is in the general WordPress settings. I'm just going to show you really quick what that is so we're all on the same page. Let's save our work, X out of here, go to settings, and then general, and the administration email address in this field. This is the admin email that shortcode pulls in. Let's go back to WPForms, registration form, edit, got it, settings, notifications. So this is the admin email. If you want to add multiple emails, just add a comma and add in the next one you want to send to. So you can have as many emails as you want, email addresses, and they all get a copy of whatever this email is. The admin email inside the curly brackets is a shortcode or possibly a smart tag. I'm not sure how WPForms labels those, but this will pull in the email address. The smart tags are different. These pull in information from the form itself. So if I were to add a comma and then click on smart tags and then click on email, it's going to pull in field ID of number 3. This is the email field. The email field is the third field in the form. That's why it has an ID of 3. To confirm that, click on it and we see its ID number right up here. I don't think that can be changed, so we'll just go with ID 3 for that field. The subject line, you can set it here. The from name, this is the from name for the email, so this is who it's sent from. In this case, it's from the website, and it adds the admin email here, and then the from name will be this. You can change it to whatever you want. The reply to is when someone hits reply on the email. This is the address it would be sent to. This is usually the same email address, but not always. So it depends on if you're accepting emails at that email address. And the message currently contains all fields, which will pull in all fields from the form. You can also use smart tags. We see there's more smart tags here now because it knows that we're adding more than just the email. For the email field, it knows all that should begin there is an email. So it only gives you email as an option. Under the from name, it gives you only the name and username as the options to enter for smart tags to enter into that field. For the message, we have all the fields available because we need them. We need to have all the information and put that into an email. And then we also have other information that we get from the website that the user doesn't define, but it's there, like their IP address, the user ID, if they're logged in, and all kinds of other information. And using this shortcode, all fields will include all fields. Then we can also enable conditional logic. So we can send this email or don't send it if certain conditions are met. I'm going to turn that off for now. And so that is the default notification. If you want to send more than one, click on Add New Notification up here. Let's call this a custom notification. Adds a new field, and we have all the same options we had before, and you can fill out a separate email. This could be an email that goes to a different person in your company. Maybe this first one is just to go to the customer who filled out the form. The second one goes to, I don't know, the CEO, and then you have a third one that goes to the fulfillment center. Who knows? But you can add as many notifications as you want. And when someone registers, the emails are sent to the appropriate places, and you can have each email have its own information in the message body. So the people who get the email only have the pertinent information that they need. So that is the notifications section. The confirmations allow us to confirm that the user's action worked, them filling out the form actually worked. So we have a confirmation message, or we can show a page, or we can go to a URL. For the message, just customize this field. It'll be shown to them when they fill out the form. If you want to show a specific page, you might have a custom page built for people who register. Choose the page from here. They'll be sent to that page. Maybe you have a blog post you want them to go to. So you can choose go to URL and enter the blog post here, or send them to somewhere off your website. You can also add a new confirmation. Let's call this a custom confirmation, and you can fill this out here. You might be wondering why you're able to add more than one confirmation. Well, it turns out when you click on add new confirmation and add a new one, we get a new field called enable conditional logic. We don't have that field on the original. So if I go to message here, we only have automatically scroll to the confirmation message. We don't have a conditional logic field. So you can turn this on and then have different messages show up for different users if you want to. I personally would probably just have one confirmation. That's probably all you need, but you can have multiple if you want. Click on Save to save your work. Under User Registration, we have some very important options. This is where we map the fields to specific fields on the profile of the user. These are all the fields up here in the user profile. They're all mapped. You see already the username goes to the username field, name goes to the name field, password goes to the password field. We don't have a website field, so it just says select field. And then the bio goes to the bio. We can change what user role someone has when they register. So by default, it's subscriber. That's probably what you want to keep it as, but depends on your site. We want to send an email to the user, contain their account information, check that box. Send an email to the admin, check that box. Enable user activation. Check this box for sure, because this will reduce a lot of spam registrations on your site. When you enable this, then the person who signs up has to click a link in an email, a confirmation email, or you have to manually confirm them or activate them as the website admin. We can choose those options here: activation method, user email, or manual approval. If you use the email, after they click the link in the email, they'll be taken to whatever page you choose here. For manual approval, there is no option for that. And down here we have the ability to add custom fields, which allows us to collect any information we want on the registration page. And we're going to do that right now before we build the registration page in Elementor. So let's save our work and then X out of here so we can install a new plugin. And the one we want is Advanced Custom Fields. We should be able to use the free version. So let's go to Plugins and Add New. Look up Advanced Custom Fields. Couldn't click on that. Oh, here it is already. This one right here is the one we want. Click on Install Now, and then click Activate. If you're installing this on a live site, you might want to back up your site first, just in case something goes wrong. It's pretty rare, but sometimes stuff does go wrong. There's a link in the description down below to help you back up your site if you need help. And with Advanced Custom Fields installed, we now have a new menu option on the left called Custom Fields. So let's click on that. So for this tutorial, we're going to just barely scratch the surface of Advanced Custom Fields and do the absolute basics to add more fields to our user profile fields. To show you what I'm talking about, I'm going to go to Users and Profile, which will take into the profile of the currently signed in user. And we see a bunch of fields here, and these map to a registration form. We have the username field, first name, last name, nickname is automatically selected, email address. We have the website, which was not one of the fields in registration form, but it was one we could map to in the settings. And we have the bio right here. So that's the default. Using Advanced Custom Fields, we're going to add new fields to the profile pages in your WordPress site. It's going to add these fields for everybody that registers. So let's go to Advanced Custom Fields again. Beside field groups, click on Add New. I'm going to call this Extra User Profile Fields. This is just for our use. Nobody else sees this name. Click on Add Field right here. I know there's a lot going on this page. Don't be intimidated. Just do the things I show you and you'll be just fine. So each of these fields, most of them are going to fill out. And there's a little description right here that explains what they are. So this is the name that'll appear on the edit page. It's going to be called favorite color. Field name, it automatically populates when you click out of this field, adds an underscore, all lowercase, just like that. The field type, is it a text field or any one of these other options that you have here? It is just a text field. Or you can make it a drop down as well if you wanted to have a specific set of colors that people choose, but I'm going to have them fill in a field, and you can add instructions if you want. I think favorite color is pretty self-explanatory, so I'm not going to add instructions. I'm going to make it required. The default value is a value that appears in the field immediately when they go to the registration form. I'm going to keep this blank. I'm not going to have placeholder text or prepend or append. This is stuff you put before the field or after the field. For example, if this was a dollar amount, you could prepend a $sign, which cannot be edited, but it appears right before the field. And then you could have maybe, I don't know, if you know you're always going to have exact dollar amounts with no change, then you could have .00. And then it'd just be a round dollar amount with no cents. This is an example of how to use prepend and append. Character limit allows you to limit how many characters someone can enter. This is something I like to set because for a field like favorite color, what is the name of the longest color you can think of? Is it less than 100 characters? Probably. So I'm going to put 50 in here actually. I can't think of a color that'd be longer than 50 characters. There might be some. In that case, they can't put that one in. But 50 characters I think is pretty reasonable length for a color because you don't want someone coming in here and pasting an entire novel in here when they should be entering just a color. So this will prevent people from abusing the form, doing stuff like this. You can enable conditional logic for these fields if you want. Wrapper attributes, size, IDs, and classes for CSS. That's all fine. We'll leave that as it is. And we're going to add another one by clicking Add Field. And we're going to call this one Country. It'll be the country where they live. Going to let them add text. You could have a drop down, which is a select, and then list all the countries in the world if you wanted to. That's a bit more work, but that would be a legit thing to do. I'm just going to have them enter text. I'm going to make that required. Keep everything else as it is. Add another field. We're going to stop at 3. This will be favorite food. My examples are kind of silly, but you get the idea. You can add any kind of fields you want, all kinds of different field types to collect whatever information you need from the people who register on your site. And this doesn't have to be registration forms either. It could be any form in WPForms you can add custom fields to. So maybe it's shipping forms, or you can create forms that accept payment with WPForms. So you could have address information that you add to the form, or preferences for whatever product you're buying. Maybe you can choose the color or the size or whatever it is. You can add custom fields to your forms. I accidentally clicked on add field. I don't want to add that field. Delete number 4. There, now we've added 3 fields. Let's minimize these so we quickly review. Click on close field for all of them. And we have favorite color, country, favorite food. The asterisk denotes that they're required. I neglected to do that for favorite food. There we go, now it's required. Now that we created the fields, we have to tell the plugin where to put these fields, which we do in the location box using these rules that we see here. In the first drop-down box, we need to select what page or page type this field will appear on. So from this list, we're going to choose user form, which is the profile form for the user. We're going to have this set to is equal to all, which means these extra fields are going to appear on everybody's user profile. You could use conditional rules here to specify exact users to have specific fields appear for. If you need to do that, we don't need to in this case, but you could. You can click on update. And now we're going to go to user and then profile, scroll down to the very bottom, and we see our new fields right down here. Now we have to connect our fields to our WP form. So let's open WPForms again, and we're going to open it in a new tab. It's going to make sense why in a minute. So let's open all forms by control clicking or command clicking to open a new tab. Click on edit registration form. And now we're going to add our fields to our form right here. So let's copy our fields over. We're going to add 3 because we have 3 new fields. And the first one is favorite color. Copy that. The second one is country. Country you reside in. And third one was favorite food. I'm going to make all of these required. Click on save. And now we have to go into settings, user registration. And this is where the connection between advanced custom fields and your form actually happens. At the very bottom of this page, there's a custom user meta section where we have to enter a meta key and then choose a field. The meta key is the name of the field inside advanced custom fields. So let's go back to advanced custom fields, edit our extra user profile fields, and the meta key is the name column right here. The one with the lowercase, text, and underscores. So let's copy favorite color, paste it right there, and choose the field favorite color. Click on plus to add another one. Let's copy country, paste it right in there, and then choose country you reside in. Click on plus again, and then choose favorite food. Copy that, scroll down, paste it in, and choose favorite food. Click on Save, and now there is a connection between our form and our custom fields. Let's X out of here and make an actual page to put this form onto so we can test it out. We're going to create another Elementor page like we did for the login page. I'm going to click on Add New under Pages. I'm going to call this Registration Page. Click on Edit with Elementor at the top. Now I still have my login page open, so we're going to copy this whole section. To do that, just go to the 6 dots at the top, click on Copy, go to our new page, right-click, and choose Paste. And now a lot of our work is done already. Going to change this to a canvas page type, so we don't have the header at the top or links in the footer if we have them. And now we can add a registration form. But first, I want to get rid of this column on the left. Let's delete that. Have just this one in the center that's going to contain a registration form. I'm going to make this column a little bit bigger. Click on the column settings and column width. Let's make it 50%. Move this one, or take this one down to 25%. And this one over here is 25. At least it should be. There we go. 25, 50, 25. Pretty close, 49.3. It's close enough. And now we're going to add our WPForm widget right into here. Bada bing. Choose registration form. And there's our form. It's huge, but there it is. Let's adjust the styling. Let's delete all the extra fields that we don't want. Delete that. Delete that. Delete that. When I said fields, I meant widgets. And now we have our form right up here. Let's add a headline at the very top. And we can't even see where the heading is because we have this column to be set to appear in the middle. And it just so happens that the background is smaller than the column. We see it going over down here. So the middle is actually with a bit of this column sticking out on the bottom and some sticking out at the top. And so we can't see everything. So we need to change this column to be vertically aligned, not to the middle, but rather to somewhere else. In this case, I'm going to choose the top. Now we see our registration, or sorry, our headline up here, which is going to say, please register. And then we see it hanging over on the bottom here. To fix that overhang, go to the section settings and the height instead of fit to screen. Let's try default. It should wrap around what's contained within it, which it does. We see it goes a little lower down here. Just going to add some padding at the bottom of this column. So it looks a little better. And this is the overall column. If you recall, we have an inner section as well. So we have this column icon for the inner section. Then we have the column for the column within the main section. I'm going to add some padding at the top too while I'm here. There we go. That looks pretty good. And now we have a registration page done. I want to add a little text here though. Let's add a text editor. In here, let's say, I already have an account. Please sign in here. Let's make this a link. It's going to be a link to our login page. And there we go. Let's publish this. Let's see how this actually works. Let's have a look at this page. Here's a registration page. Click on here, sticks to the login page, which is right here. Both pretty fancy pants. And I just realized this link won't work because I thought I was being smart by adding it earlier. If you recall, I added the link to /register, but now that's not the actual URL. So I thought I was being smart, but I was being a dummy. Click on Quick Edit to get the actual slug for that page. Let's edit this link, paste that in there, update it, and there we go. Now that will work. That will take us back to the registration page. All right, now let's actually fill this out in an incognito window because it won't work because I'm already signed in that other window. Okay, I filled it in with my alter ego, Biff Wellington, and just fill in some really simple information. Click on Submit, and that will submit our registration form. And this text right here, thanks for contacting us, that was specified by default inside WPForms. We can, of course, change that text or have them go to a different page. Maybe one that's styled a little better. Instead of having the mountains go up half height, we could have another full page mountain range in the back or something. We can do that by going back into our dashboard, WPForms, choose a registration form, click on Edit, and under Settings and Confirmations, we see this same sentence right here. And we could just change this to show page and then have a custom built page that they go to if you want. And we also, if you recall, under user registration, have this form set to manual approval. So we as the admin, we don't have to approve Biff Wellington before he can actually register. So let's go to users. We see Biff right here. We need to choose approve or delete if Biff is no good. But I'm going to approve Biff. I think he'll be a good addition to our community. I'm going to click on edit to see what kind of info we have on Biff. We have all the fields filled out here. He could do a better bio, that's for sure. And down here, we have our custom fields filled in just how we want them. The profile picture, this can actually be filled in as well with advanced custom fields. I don't know if WPForms has a field for that though. Let's quickly check it out. Let's go to edit, see if there's an image upload. Let's see, there's a file upload. So we could possibly use the file upload with an image field in the advanced custom fields. I haven't tried that yet, but that could be a possibility. And then we could possibly link that to the user profile. Not quite sure. But now we have our registration form done and it works. Now let's actually log in. Let's see if Biff can log in. Let's go to the login page and our username is BiffWell and our password is a top secret password. Click on submit, fingers crossed, and we are logged in. We see our admin bar at the top. This of course can be hidden with other plugins if you want to, but Biff can now go up here, click on edit profile, and Biff can edit his own profile. One last very important thing I have to show you. You'll see why this is important when I actually show you. So when we log out, it took us back to this login form here. You can use other plugins to make sure that when they log out, it goes to the actual login form or even a different page on your site. I have a tutorial for that linked in the card up above and the description down below. But if we go back to our login form, what I wanted to show you is go to login. If I enter the wrong information here and submit, it shows an error message right here. If you use something like the Elementor login form, this will now, after there's an error, redirect you to the standard stock WordPress login form, which you don't want. You want to stay on this page and have them try again and log in properly. As of right now, WPForms does not have the ability to make a customized forgot password form, but we can add a customized forgot password message to our form right here, which I guess right now is better than nothing. But from what I understand from the devs over at WPForms, they have received numerous requests for a forgot password template, so that might be released soon. But for now, you can do what I show you right here, which is go to this page that I've linked to in the description down below. There's a piece of code right here. It's basically a forgot password message with a short code to the forgot password page. Then I'm going to paste it right where the screenshot shows. I'm going to zoom in a bit, which is the description field for the password field. So let's go back to our form editor, set into our dashboard, and then click WPForms. That'll show us all the forms. Go to the login form, click on edit, click on the password field, and then paste that code that we just copied right here. I'm going to change this to forgot your password, ? And then there's a link. So let's save this and see how that works. Come back out here, refresh. Now we have that message right there. Click here, and it goes to the forgot password page. And as you can see right now, this is just a WordPress template, but I have it on good authority that WPForms may be adding in a forgot password template, and that would be super because then we can customize pretty much the whole customer journey when it comes to logging in, registration, forgetting passwords, all that kind of stuff with your own customized templates. Another thing I thought of is you might want to add a login form to the menu up here, and you may not know how. So let's do that really quick. Go back into our admin, go to appearance and then menus, and then on the left-hand side here, choose login page, click on add to menu, adds it right there, click on save menu, go back out to the main site. We see the login link right here. Click on that, goes to the login page, and we can log in as we just did. So if you like what you see, I encourage you to head over to WPForms and check out their features, because the WPForms plugin does a whole lot more than what we went through in this tutorial. Even though what you just learned is very valuable, there is much more you can do. So go to the features page, check out what it can do, and then check out the pricing page and get yourself a copy if WPForms can help you in your business. Next up, you should check out one of these two playlists over here, Elementor Pro and Elementor Free. In those two playlists, you'll find all kinds of tips and tricks to help you take your site to the next level, like we just did with WPForms and Elementor. So check those two out. If you haven't done so yet, make sure to click subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss any future videos. My name is Bjorn, all passing the WP Learning Lab. Until next time, keep crushing it, and I will see you in the next video.